Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. A lot of stuff to talk about, especially for midsummer. So let's get right to it. First up on the list, the VW Scirocco. Volkswagen, rumors floating about that Volkswagen could be bringing the Scirocco to the United States. This vehicle's been sold overseas for many years. For me, for one, couldn't wait to see this thing on U.S. shores. So I hope this is real and not just a rumor that could be floating away soon. Next up on the list, with Honda's triumphant return to Formula One racing coming very soon with McLaren International. Talks now, rumors float about, that McLaren International and Honda may be working on a road car program. Now, obviously, Honda builds road cars. McLaren does as well, as we've talked a lot about the McLaren MP412C and the P1 in the past several months. But maybe they're going to team up to build a sports car. Rumors float about that maybe it's the S line. We could see the S2000 make its triumphant return. And actually, years ago, Honda and kind of McLaren teamed up as their McLaren Formula One driver back in the day, did all the development work for the NSX project. So I can't wait to see if this thing actually comes anything of it, because this could be really, really great. Next up on the list, this is a logo from Octane Academy. Now, you may have seen this particular television series where people send in their videos and get picked to be on the show, and they go through a bunch of automotive challenges. Now, this comes with 3 distinguished action sports race drivers, being Tanner Faust, also Ken Block, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and Brian Deegan. Well, the Ford Group actually is a sponsor of all these fellas, and thinks that this program is a pretty neat program and wants to put their own little program together if you want to learn a little bit on the driving side of this situation. If you own a Ford Focus ST or a Fiesta ST, you get a free trip, or at least, well, a free opportunity at Miller Motorsports Park. Ford will pay for a one-day program for you to be at Miller Motorsports Park to drive Focus STs and Fiesta STs. Now, the fully safety, roll cage, and everything like this, and they will teach you car control and driving dynamics for these particular automobiles. Now, you do have to pay for some of this trip. You have to pay for the lodging, the travel to Salt Lake City, as this track is in Utah. They will give you the travel the rest of the way to the race facility. But you do have to give the travel, the food, and the lodging for this particular program. But you get one day for free there at the track. Now, if you want to stay an extra day, which you will have to pay for, but still, it gets better. You get more track time, and you get an upgrade into the GT Mustang, which would be pretty doggone exciting. Also, they have an off-road circuit where you can actually run a SVT Ford Raptor. So this is a pretty slick little program, and honestly, Ford, I don't have an ST, but if you would love to send me up there, I would be more than happy to head up there, try out this experience, and talk about it here on the show. Little shameless plug there. Staying with Ford, Ford's in a situation where at the end of 2015, or actually the end of 2014 going into 2015 series, they're going to pull all professional sponsorship out of the Mellow Yellow NHRA drag racing series, which is an interesting situation. I saw this coming totally out of left field. Didn't see this coming for quite some time. Now, as far as their Pro Stock program, which has been making nice inroads past several months, it has been hurting quite badly. But their Funny Car program has yielded a lot of championships and a number of race wins. Now, when it comes to the Funny Car program, actually the head of one of the Ford racing teams, the biggest Ford race team, if you will, it's John Force. Now, a lot of you know who John Force is. This pullout from Ford Racing has actually made John make plans as he's building a second Top Fuel drag racers, and there's a lot of talk, rumors float about, especially this weekend, that John Force will be going to Top Fuel Racing. At least the taping of this program is rumors floating about. Interesting situation when it comes to this pulling out of NHRA drag racing. I may have a reason behind this. Now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, otherwise known as NHTSA, is actually fining Ford Motor Company for a situation that went with the brand new Ford Escape. NHTSA told Ford that they needed to recall the Ford Escape for a situation that was going on with the automobile. Ford delayed the actual recall for a wee bit, And apparently they're going to pay the price for it, as NHTSA is going to fine Ford Motor Company $17.4 million, which could be real close to the program that was in NHRA. So, weird situation when it comes to this particular deal. But it got me thinking. Remember Jeep? Remember when Jeep went after NHTSA, took them to the courts, and then ended up backing down over a situation over the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Jeep Liberty actually having issues with fuel cells, actually a leaking problem and an explosion problem. Granted, I think Chrysler had a little bit of a leg to stand on, as the cars had to be rear-ended at over 60 miles an hour. That being the Jeep being stopped and the vehicle hitting them doing over 60. Can't imagine many fuel cells actually surviving that particular program. And then Jeep's going to do this weird situation where they're going to install trailer hitches on these vehicles, or, trailer hitch units that are frame mounted, try to alleviate this situation, which was kind of weird as well. But could Chrysler be looking at a situation where they could get a huge fine because they have a big, heavy footprint in the Mellow Yellow NHRA drag racing series? So we'll keep this in mind in the future, and we'll keep you in tune on what could be going down. Next up on the list, let's talk about July sales now that we're in the month of August. July sales, year over year actually, from 2012 to 2013, were up 9% as 1.3 million units were sold in the month of July, which brought up the SAR, the seasonal annual adjusted rate, which was 15.6 million units after the month of July, which that is, what the SAR is basically, it's a forecast for if the sales goes on the way it has been over the past several months, that this will be the ending year sales number, and 15.6 million units as it is. Now, year over year, back in 2012, it's a pretty good improvement, because year over year it was only 14 million units this time last year. But month over month, from June to July, June's SAR number was actually 15.9, so actually a little bit of a drop in that particular number. The big winners and losers were pretty bizarre too. Subaru was probably the biggest winner at they were up 37.2% for the month of July. Also, Porsche was up over 30% for the month of July. Now, maybe Subaru has a little bit to do with the BRZ. Porsche, I bet, has a ton to do with that brand new 911 that just came out. Now, the big losers in this situation were Volkswagen Audi, which were up 0.25%, and Hyundai-Kia, which were up 0.46%. My biggest insight as far as this particular situation is when you look at all these numbers, every manufacturer was up year over year, or month over month, I guess I should say, for the month of July. Doggone impressive, I thought. So that's a pretty good deal, that the automotive industry is still a shining spot in this particular, in this economic downturn, if you will. And all of these numbers I got from Autoline.tv, so big thanks to those folks over there. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this week's Motor Cars Enthusiast. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, I'm going to put up the link to that Ford racing situation if you want to go to Miller Motorsports Park and get in on that particular driving situation. And we also got a bunch of cool stuff over there, so you can check us out over there. The link's down in the show notes. Also, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.